Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming. It's going to be a great show. We have two great speakers. And since the time is very short, we will immediately get to it. The first speaker is Natasha, for the friends Tasha. For those she doesn't like, it's Miss Chick. She's a divisional director at the UK Intellectual Property Office, responsible for the tribunals, trademarks, and designs, you know, the poor parent. She started her career as a patent examiner. She's actually a degree in computer science, so what she's doing among trademarks attorneys is always a mystery. And before spending time in the Department for Business, she was with the Foreign Office. She's Tasha, Miss Tasha Bond, and for the Danish government as a secondee. Tasha has just returned from shared parental leave because she was taking care of Rowan, 9 months old and quite beautiful. And congratulations, Tasha, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I'm going to move this out of the way. So I would like to thank the ACTA Committee for inviting me to speak to you today on the status of Brexit. My name is Natasha Chick. Thank you very much, Fabio, for introducing me. And I'm the Divisional Director responsible for tribunals, trademark and design teams within the UK's Intellectual Property Office. So my teams are responsible for the examination of trademarks and designs and for dealing with any opposition, cancellation of trademark and designs and patents. Prior to this role, I was the Deputy Director leading the Trademark and Designs Policy team. This means I was responsible for negotiations on the trademark and design elements of the withdrawal agreement with the EU, including going out to Brussels and participating in the negotiations. Someone asked me at the time whether my then pregnancy or the withdrawal negotiations were the most difficult, but in deference to my 9-month-old son, I'm not going to say which one was harder. I also led work on making sure the legislative changes for no deal were delivered in time for exit. So the Intellectual Property Office has excellent relationships with various intellectual property organisations, and I am grateful for the work that organisations such as ACTA did in making sure we understood all the areas we needed to consider in relation to Brexit. My intention today is to give you an overview of what was agreed with the EU in the withdrawal agreement. Following that, I will talk you through the work the UK government has done on trademarks and designs in the event of no deal. Before I do get into my talk, I just want to reiterate that the UK has one of the best intellectual property regimes in the world, and leaving the EU will not change that. We will continue to deliver high-quality rights-granting services, lead the world in enforcement, and engage internationally in intellectual property discussions. Because of our ambition to be the best IP office in the world and create a world-leading intellectual property environment, the British government has committed to making sure that no UK trademark or design rights are lost upon the UK's exit from the EU in either a deal or no deal scenario. I'm going to start by outlining what has been agreed between the UK and the EU on the trademark and designs as part of the withdrawal agreement. Following the UK's notification to the EU that we would be leaving the Union following the result of the referendum in 2016, the UK and the EU negotiated a comprehensive withdrawal agreement agreed at a special meeting of the European Council on 25th of November 2018. And delivering a deal with the EU remains the government's priority. The withdrawal agreement contains a chapter on intellectual property in Articles 54 to 61. There is also a reference to jurisdictional arrangements in relation to the EU trademark and designs regulations in Article 67. There are specific points on representation before the EU IPO during the transition period in Article 97. So if you're interested, I would really encourage you to take a look at those bits of the withdrawal agreement. The withdrawal agreement outlines what will happen during and at the end of the transition period, the period between the agreement coming into force and the 31st of December, 2020. During the transition period, existing EU trademark and designs will continue to provide protection in the UK. And the British government has committed to providing continued protection in the UK for EU trademark and design holders after the end of the transition period. The agreement outlines how the UK will create a comparable UK trademark or design for the holder of a registered EU right. If you hold a registered EU trademark or design at the end of the transition period, you will become the holder of a UK trademark or design after the UK leaves the EU. For a trademark, that right will consist of the same sign for the same goods and services. For a design, it will be for the same design. The government has committed to doing this without the need for an application, any re-examination of the rights, and for free. The EU has committed to providing information to the UK to allow this process to take place. Any comparable UK trademark or design would keep the same dates as the EU trademark or design. So that means the filing, priority and seniority dates of the new UK right will be the same as the original EU right. The renewal date will also be the same as the ones from the corresponding EU trademark or design. The term of protection for designs would be at least equal to the remaining term of protection on the corresponding EU right. The British government has agreed to special provisions relating to genuine use and reputation for these types of trademarks. In the withdrawal agreement, there are special provisions relating to ongoing administrative or judicial proceedings. If the original EU trademark or design is declared invalid, revoked or cancelled because of an administrative or judicial procedure which were ongoing on the last day of the transition period, the comparable UK right will also be declared invalid, revoked or cancelled. This will not apply to EU trademarks or designs if the grounds for invalidity or revocation do not apply in the UK. The British government has committed to ensuring that holders of international registrations designating the EU will also retain their rights within the UK. The withdrawal agreement does not outline how that would be achieved, as the UK government, would need to discuss options with the World Intellectual Property Organisation. The government has also agreed provisions in relation to pending EU trademark and design applications. We believe that there can be up to 85,000 pending EU applications at any one time. Those with such pending applications will be able to file a new application in the UK. That new application will be entitled to the same dates of priority filing and seniority as the earlier filed EU application. To claim these earlier dates, an application must be submitted to the UK Intellectual Property Office within 9 months of the end of the transition period. The application must also be for the same design or for the same trademark in respect of goods and services which are identical with or contained within those for which the application was made to the EU IPO. Under the withdrawal agreement, the British government similarly committed to providing protection for current holders of unregistered community designs. In addition, the EU has committed to continuing to allow UK representatives to act before the EU IPO during the transition period. That's a pretty quick run-through of the withdrawal agreement, so I hope it's given you a flavour of what was agreed in the withdrawal agreement, but as I said before, I would really encourage you to read it yourself. I'm now going to move on to the work the UK has done in the case of a no-deal Brexit, even though, obviously, delivering a deal remains the government's priority. In any scenario, including no deal, the government is committed to ensuring that there will be continuity of IP rights for all rights holders and no existing trademark and design rights will be lost as a result of the UK leaving the EU. All our no-deal legislation has now passed through the UK Parliament. This means, in the event that the UK leaves the EU without a deal, the law will come into effect on exit date. This will ensure that the UK has a functioning statute book following our departure from the EU and will ensure continuity of intellectual property rights for rights holders. The trademark and designs legislative changes are similar to the commitments made by the UK in the withdrawal agreement, but with some differences to take into account that there would not be an implementation period and that it is only UK law that is changed. If the UK leaves without a deal, all existing EU trademarks and designs, as well as international registrations designating the EU, would no longer provide protection in the UK. So the UK government will still create a comparable trademark or design for the holder of an EU right. For no deal, the EU right will have to have existed at exit date because there will be no transition period. The rights will still retain the same filing, priority and seniority dates as they would have done as part of the withdrawal agreement, as well as the specific provisions on genuine use and reputation for trademarks. The provisions for trademarks and design applications remain the same. You would still have to make, or you would still be able to make an application to the Intellectual Property Office based on your earlier EU application. And this would still need to be done within 9 months of the date of exit. One difference is that we would not be able to, or that we would not apply any outcomes of administrative or judicial rulings on the comparable UK right, even if those actions were ongoing at exit date. If you wanted that to happen, you would have to launch a separate UK action. The government has created specific rules governing opting out, renewals and restorations, certification and collective marks to ensure the system works effectively after exit. The legislation also confirms that any injunctions relating to EU trademarks and designs will be treated as if they also applied to the comparable UK trademark. For international registrations designating the EU, the government has committed to creating a comparable UK right to ensure that no rights are lost. The provisions are similar to the ones for creating the existing EU rights. For unregistered designs, the legislation creates a comparable UK right to exit date for the owners of an EU unregistered design right. In addition, the government has committed to introducing a similar unregistered design system into the UK so that UK designers can continue to benefit from the protection it offers. This is in addition to the current UK unregistered design right, which will continue to be available. This new unregistered design right will be known as the supplementary unregistered design right. All of these rights that I've talked about will be fully independent UK rights that can be challenged, licensed, or assigned separately to the parent EU trademark, registered community design, or unregistered design. There is business guidance available on gov.uk which goes through all of the details relating to the legislative changes, and I would really encourage you to look at it. As I mentioned, the UK government completed all the legislative changes required for a no-deal ahead of the original exit date of 29th of March 2019. In addition to the legislative work, the Intellectual Property Office made significant changes to its IT systems. We have made sure we can create UK rights from over 1.3 million EU trademarks and 700,000 registered community designs. These rights will become live if the UK leaves the EU without a deal on the currently scheduled exit date of 31st of October. Finally, I'm just going to mention that the political declaration agreed at the same time as the withdrawal agreement sets out an ambitious framework for the EU-UK future relationship, including on IP. We have committed to continue to offer high standards of protection and enforcement of IP rights and establish cooperation beyond the minimum framework required by the multilateral arrangements. The government believes that this is important to allow fruitful collaboration and exchange of expertise between the UK and the EU. As I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, the UK's intellectual property system and enforcement regime is internationally regarded as amongst the best in the world. This will not change following our exit from the EU. And looking forward, I can assure you that we keep the UK's intellectual property framework under constant review to ensure that it works for both rights holders and users and continues to be a stimulus for innovation and growth. Leaving the EU will provide us with some opportunities and flexibility to look at our regime and see if changes are necessary. But any proposed changes would of course look to ensure the interests are balanced appropriately and consult the users of the system on any potential changes. So I don't know whether my talk has allowed you to emerge from the Highland haze, as was kind of suggested by the title, but I hope it has given you a good overview of the withdrawal agreement and the legislative changes that the UK government has made in the event of no deal. And I want to reassure you that whatever happens with Brexit, my colleagues and I at the Intellectual Property Office are committed to making sure we continue to deliver high-quality trademark and designs for all of our customers. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tasha. This was very interesting. And of course, I have to say that I still hope that something happens and you don't leave us, because we would miss you so much. But just in case,